Hi there, how you doing? I was watching the Caleb and Sophia video, The Ransom. I'd not seen it before. It's just a couple of minutes, of course, the video. I'm just going to play a little bit of it here. The story, if you've not watched it, is Sophia has a friend, Elsa, who is very elderly, and she sees Elsa in hospital. And Elsa is obviously very sick, and Sophia is crying to her mum. She gets a talk about Jehovah from her dad, of course, as usual. And then they show what's going to happen to Elsa and Sophia. I'm going to tell you, after this short clip, I'm going to tell you a personal story and why this clip is sad, but not for the reasons that the Watchtower think it's sad. Okay, so what do you think is wrong with this clip? Have a look.
Yes! Thanks to Jehovah for giving us Jesus as the ransom. Now we all have the hope of living forever in paradise. And when we are going through tough times, like right now, that hope can get us through.
Elsa? Sister Elsa!
So did you see what was misleading in that vid? Did you notice the ages of Elsa and Sophia? So Elsa was a young woman, prime of life. There she was doing her favourite hobby, painting, having been resurrected onto a paradise earth. And there's Sophia. Sophia is a little girl. She's a little girl. Which would mean that Elsa's going to be resurrected very soon. So let me tell you about me when I was a little girl and tie this in with Sophia's hopes. Now, I loved the elderly couple next door when I was little. We lived there when I was up to the age of 4, and I pretty much lived next door with this couple. They were in their 80s, and they'd never had children. They loved each other so much, this couple, still held hands and things. And I would spend my days on my neighbour's lap. We'd sing and play and cuddle and laugh, and it was lovely. It was idyllic. And she would say to me, I always wanted a little girl with blue eyes. And her husband had really blue eyes, really strong blue eyes. And I used to feel so sad for her, because she obviously really wanted a little baby. I didn't know how babies came. I'm guessing, had I been a J-dub, I'd have been hearing all about it and all the details down at the Kingdom Hall. You usually do. So I was told, I'd say to her, how did I get here? How am I here? And she'd say, oh, your mother and father, they found you under the gooseberry bush at the bottom of the garden. And I was a bit confused because we didn't have a gooseberry bush. But my neighbour, she had a blackcurrant bush, which I used to like to go and raid. So I used to go and look under the blackcurrant bush. I'd sneak down, I didn't tell her what I was doing, to see if there's a baby under there for her. And it had to be a little girl with blue eyes, or I'd be sending it back. So I always felt sad that she never had a little girl with blue eyes. Yes, I do have blue eyes. And a friend said to me, that was well into advanced years, and this friend said, hang on, But that's exactly what she did get, a little girl with blue eyes. I was like, oh! And here's this picture of the two of us. Yes, we lived in black and white in those days. We had no colour. And this will be blah, 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 circa, I don't know, 1966, maybe? So there we are. And I used to go out with her every Friday around the town. And you can see she's bought me a Caramac. A chocolate bar called Caramac. And I'm munching away, quite happy. I mean, what could be better? So we moved away. We kept in contact by letters in those days. And I even went to stay with them, back to stay with them, and it was lovely. And it came to a point we hadn't heard from them for ages and ages, so we drove down. And her husband had died, and she had very severe dementia. She was in a room downstairs that used to be her parlour, her posh parlour room that really didn't get used. I suppose if the vicar came, he'd use it, that sort of thing. And there was she was in this hospital bed, and there was machinery, like equipment, hoists and that around her. And it was hard. And of course she did die. And I guess I'd have been about Sophia's age. And at that time, you know what would have been happening? It would have started the rumbles of 1975. 1975. Now, when you're little, even if it's like 6, 7 years in the future, you can't imagine it. I mean, it's an eternity, isn't it? But I'd have been hanging on. Had they had cartoons. We did have cartoons in those days. They had been invented by then. But had this cartoon existed, you know what I'd have done? I'd have really expected, as a child, to be reunited with her. And come 1975, okay, I'd be starting on adolescence, or into, just at the beginning of adolescence. But I'd have expected myself, still not fully grown, just like Sophia there, little, and a child's going to see that. And look, there's a continuity. They're still little. They're not going to have to wait long to see their loved one again. That's how a child is going to take it. That's how I'd have seen it. And that is how a child's going to take it. Is that going to happen? Well, they've been saying that will happen for over 100 years. And how many little girls and little boys were told they'd never grow old. It was going to happen a couple of times during the First World War. Everything was going to change. Aging would stop. Then it was all desperate preaching. It's going to happen soon again, the 20s and 30s. Then again in the 60s into the 70s. In the 80s. When I saw things, it was any day now, and like many people in my generation, we were told, you won't grow old. You won't grow old. Well, my schoolmates are grandparents and feeling their aches and pains. And had I seen that cartoon as a little girl, I'd have expected before I was an adult to see my lovely neighbour, my surrogate mum. And it wouldn't have happened, would it? So how many promises are going to be made? How many promises? And how many children are going to be wide-eyed with their hopes raised? And that made me sad, that video. Because I do wonder how many children will be watching that, expecting. Meanwhile, of course, they watched how I had a long-term plan for this new complex in Warwick. I mean, that's been years in the planning, years in construction. We've still got a lot of mess to sort out with all the pollution. So it makes me sad. I have gone on to other spiritual experiences and knowledge. So there is comfort, a lot of experience and comfort about me and my old neighbour. But hey, I'm not here to talk about, because we've all gone off in our different directions, and it's not something to talk about here. Well, I hope you enjoyed me ramblings again. Me ramblings. I don't know if enjoyed's the word, because it wasn't that amusing, was it? Best to you all. Best to you all. And have a good one. Bye.
I see your face in every sunrise. So many ways